Hello, my name is Kerry Goff, and I am from Texas, Fredericksburg, Texas, which is 70 miles north of San Antonio, Texas, and 70 miles west of Austin, our state capital. Fredericksburg is a little German town, actually founded in the mid 1800s, and my family's born and raised here, from here, and so I definitely know that I have a Texas accent. There's definitely one there. But my family was German, and in Fredericksburg, I have a very specific memory of how the old Germans, the old Texas Germans, sounded in Fredericksburg. And it's not obviously not a memory first of my voice. I would just want to share this memory is when I was a young kid, you could still go around into shops in Fredericksburg and you can hear the old Texas German, and it was usually mixed with a lot of English. So you would hear them in this peculiar dialect that it kind of sounded like, well, the other day we were down there at the ranch and we were cooking some of the beef and some of the deer, and oh well, that's just the way it is. And then they'd say something like "mach's gut" in German, and they'd be on their way. And you can still in 2016 hear that dialect on occasion in certain non-tourist stores in Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg is a very touristy town, about 1.6 million visitors a year, and so. But if you know where to go, you can still hear the old timers talking that way. So that's kind of my first memory of hearing, going, okay, these people that obviously speak English and they speak German, but they have this kind of different accent. So it's kind of interesting. And in my head, talking about my voice, I always had felt like my voice was much lower than it is until I finally heard myself on a videotape of probably a play I did in high school. Oh, my voice is a lot higher than it sounds in my head, and it was kind of interesting. And though I have noticed that as I have gotten older, and now I'm in my mid 30s almost, that my voice has gotten lower, and I've definitely have heard that in recordings. So, as you can see, I had this mustache. I'm actually in a play of Mice and Men, and that is currently right now. I'm about to close this show, and I'm playing Carlson as the character who shoots Candy's dog in Of Mice and Men. If you're familiar with Of Mice and Men, and one of the main things our director, it's set in Southern California, and our director said, "Don't get caught up in being Texas." And that was so hard because you think all these guys are laborers, they're workers, and the first thing you want to do is start saying, "Well, hey, Slim," and she was like, "I don't want to sound like that. They're not from Texas, or that's not how we're going to play it for sure. Southern California." So we've had to really work on, and that's part of that stereotyping of, well, they're laborers, so they must kind of sound like this. So it's been interesting to kind of work with that and then jump in this class in graduate studies. So I've had to work definitely just recently on not playing a stereotype, especially of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. You would never want to play a stereotype in a show like that. But it just felt so natural as, I've got boots on and work clothes on to fall into maybe that trap of using that kind of a dialect and using kind of my voice memory of, well, that's how I hear some of the old timers around here sound like, some of these old ranchers in Fredericksburg. So, and that was one of the interesting things about doing that show. I'm a singer, a baritone, and I have my own group, and love to sing, and so I've sang a lot of opera, I've sang a lot of musical theater, and when I first started, one of my voice memories was being not singing on pitch, always being flat, and I'd always remember that kind of negative connotation of my voice of not just really being able to hit those notes correctly, and it kind of haunted me for a couple of years, thinking I never can sing these things on pitch, and I'd get good feedback of tonality that the tone of my voice is great, just never on pitch, and it was hard work to fight and beat that, and that was a voice memory that I have had is and so it's kind of interesting. So there's a couple of quick things right there. Video's now reaching nearly 5 minutes. I'm excited to be in the class. I'm excited to work with you all. I know one thing she did mention. I did say my name is Kerry Goff, and that's how I pronounce it. Kerry Goff, Goff. So if anyone's wondering, that's how it is. Again, excited to work, excited to learn more and refine my craft. Thanks.